Yeah. Well, today the goal is to do real hands-on AI work together. So I'm going to need a lot of participation from you guys because I really want to solve kind of whatever the problems that you either have or think you will have at some point. Um, that's, I want this to be like really relevant to you. So you guys keep coming to this, so you must be interested in AI. So tell me, what do you wish you could have someone actually help you do with AI or think through?
So, like with me, I'm not too sure when it comes to AI because I'm completely new to this industry, and what I hear is a lot of people are using it for like co-work type stuff and maybe even build some code and stuff like that. But I'm just trying to like see what people are doing and kind of figure out what how I can use it myself.
And what do you tell me, like what you hope for your career to look like pretty soon?
So basically, eventually, when I run my own practice one day, I would like to maybe use AI to kind of like streamline things, maybe identify bottlenecks and speed things up, and kind of use that time to free up to do more high level type stuff.
Yeah. What do you want your practice to be like? Like what type of clients, what type of work?
So I think like in the beginning, I'll probably want to work with individuals and small businesses. Really, nothing like too fancy, but maybe like eventually, maybe I might expand to maybe larger businesses. But I'm not really sure yet. To
Yeah,
be honest with
yeah.
you.
So are you like more at the beginning of like studying for the exams and stuff?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm at the beginning. I'm trying to study for part one for the EA,
Okay, cool.
and I'm also an accounting student.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so I haven't graduated yet, but eventually. It's funny because like AI it's everywhere now. So like even in my school, like they allow you to use it. They just allow you to use it, but as long as you cite your sources, they say, which I think is funny.
Interesting. So you can just put like ChatGPT as your source.
Yeah, I guess, or I guess the sources that ChatGPT provides.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but I did use it to try to like about a year ago. It's advanced since then. I've used it before to kind of upload a 10K and see trying to explain like what it means and everything, and it kind of got some stuff right. But like when it comes down to the details and the numbers, I still have to do the work. So
Yeah,
you still need a person to review it and everything.
right. Yeah, I think like at the stage that you're in, like it's still super important for you to take like the normal accounting classes and get the normal EA license, and like it's not going to be just like, oh, AI can just do it all, so you don't even need to learn it yourself. Because like us like CPAs and enrolled agents out there practicing right now, like we're seeing it make mistakes every day, and we wouldn't know that they were mistakes if we didn't have the education we had. So I still think like I think having like the classic education is the most important thing to do. And then, from there, you can use these tools to kind of supercharge your brain or make you work faster, or just like anything that ever feels like tedious, busy work, or like something, that takes a while to do, you'll just never have to do manually again. Like, so it, like you said, it's like the streamlining, it makes everything faster so that you can take on more work or not work as many hours. But the actual technical knowledge, you'll still have to know. Um, and like I feel like when I was like a staff accountant at the beginning of my career, whenever I wanted to like whenever I was working on a tax return and I didn't know the answer to something, the my boss would say like, like, don't come and ask me until you've looked like in the tax code book. And like, I'd have to sit there and look through this book, and none of like the tax code like exactly explained like the nuance of the exact situation on my tax return that I was working on. So it was like really hard to like search for what, I would Google stuff, but like I just could never get like the exact answer that I needed. So I think that that's going to be like a huge thing with AI. And there's even like software that's like an AI tool for tax research that's like only for like, it's not just like using Claude, it's like its own thing just for tax research. And those are like, that's like the thing that is going to be magic for you guys, like starting your careers, is that, you could say, like, this is the exact situation with my client, help me through it. And it will help you reason through it. And because you guys have this foundational knowledge already, you'll have the context of like what it's talking about and be able to know if like its reasoning makes sense or not. But it's going to be really helpful to have these tools for sure. Uh, a big thing that we're like a lot of us in the industry are talking about right now is like what confidential information can or can't you put into these AI tools. There's kind of like two things that you need to know about that. One is like data security, like cybersecurity and all of that, that which is like that's always been a thing that like, clients shouldn't send you their social security number in an email. Like it should be in like a protected portal or whatever. Like, so that's like nothing's changed there. But then there's this thing called the 7216, which is like if you were ever like to hire offshore people, to work for you, like you'd always have to have your client sign this form 7216 to show that like you're disclosing to them that like their data is leaving the US and going somewhere else, like a third party is accessing it. So the thought is that if you're giving like clients tax return information to an AI tool, then that is also like a third party that you're giving it to. So you need to disclose it to your clients and have them sign something. But there's like a clause in the 7216 that says like if it's an auxiliary tool, then maybe you don't have to have them sign it. Like you could kind of just like maybe throw it in your engagement letter, like kind of bury it in there, and like it doesn't have to be so intense and like formal. But then it doesn't say like what counts as an auxiliary, tool, because this thing was written well, like way, way, way before AI was a thing, which is frustrating. So this is kind of like some tax pros out there are saying like absolutely never could you ever like put like a client's source documents or tax returns or anything into an AI tool. And then the other people are saying, yeah, you can. You just have to have them sign this 7216. And then the others are saying, you can, and you don't even have to have them sign the 7216. So I hope by the time you guys are like fully licensed and everything, the IRS has come out with guidelines. I know other countries are already like coming out with guidelines like for their tax preparers, saying like, here's the rules with AI with sensitive information. They call it PII, the sensitive information. But the IRS has not provided us any resources on that yet, which is not surprising. So yeah, so we're kind of left to figure out for ourselves like what our risk appetite will be with like how much streamlining can we use these AI tools for. Yeah, our federal government is very slow, for sure. It sounds like I was talking to a CPA in Europe, and he's like, oh yeah, our government just released like the protocols for us CPAs to use for you know accounting and auditing and tax and when it comes to AI. And I'm like, what? So yeah, not in the US, but yeah. So I think like Alexander, you were saying like with streamlining, there's kind of like two things that AI could potentially help with in your tax practice. One is sort of like the streamlining of like your workflow, just kind of like bigger picture of like the intake of getting a new client and organizing the new client's information and sending them a proposal and getting their payment, like kind of more of the ops side of your business. And then the other thing it could help with is like the actual technical tax side, which could mean like just research when you're stuck on something, or it could mean like actually taking the first pass at preparing the return for you, and then you just review it, or the other way around, where you're able to prepare the return, but you want like to have AI review it because maybe it'll notice things that you didn't notice. Um, so those are kind of like the different things. So like work papers, like taking all of the source documents that the client gives you and turning those into like an organized digital binder where you can go through page after page and check off things as you enter them into the tax software. Like that's something that people really want to be able to use AI to do. And then, put together maybe like a really easy to understand summary after the tax return is done so that the client can see in like plain English what they owe and what it all means, and give you ideas for like tax strategies for the following year or tax savings ideas, things like that. It'd be great. And sometimes like, it might find something that you just missed, and it's like you're only human. So having AI review would be great. But the question is, can we put like sensitive tax return information into these tools? So for now, kind of what you can do as a workaround before like the IRS tells us what if we can or can't. So I know some practices are just saying, screw it, we don't care. We trust these things. Like all of our tools that we've used all these years, even Adobe has like an AI thing at the top of it. Like as long as you're on a plan that doesn't train on the data and whatever, like I'm just gonna use it. Other people are like, I'm going to put my tax returns into this AI software, but I'm going to make sure that I redact all of the PII, all of that sensitive information before I put it in. So when it comes to redacting, you have to have the right tool and you have to be confident that it truly is redacting. It's not just like hiding putting like essentially like a post-it note on top of the words, and like in the metadata of the file, it's still in there like that. Cause that's a thing. Like with Adobe, if you redact, it's like still in there. So like the AI tool could still see that information. Um, so Alexander, that's perfect. So screenshotting and cropping and just taking the parts like that aren't sensitive and putting that into like Claude or whatever is totally legit. Totally fine. The 7216 like still says that like some of the really intense people out there right now are saying like that's still a client document that's related to a tax return and you still need to have them sign the 7216 even though you don't even have any sensitive information on it. I don't know that I agree with that, and I really think that until the IRS can give you actual guidance on this, like, you shouldn't be penalized for doing that. Like, you're not putting them at any risk. Like, you're like the AI tool doesn't know whose numbers these are. Like I think you're doing a fine job. And I would, if I still had my tax practice, I would absolutely do what you're doing and take that risk. But the 7216 says like you can have potential jail time and like so, there's just like a lot of kind of very very conservative EAs out there. It's been mostly EAs actually, who are just like, don't do it, don't do it. One thing that people are doing is they're taking like these websites where you can download like a local model, like AI model that stays on your local computer. And it's like not going to be as current and it's not going to be getting updates the way like the ones online do. But then it's like never leaves your computer and it's not connected to the cloud or anything like that. And I can give you guys like a little write up on that because I had Claude write like a instructions on like how you would do that. But then it's like completely fair game. And you could even feed it like the IRS tax code and say, like, use this when I ask you to review a return or something like that. So that is definitely like a workaround, but you have to be a little bit techy to kind of figure out like how to um, get that set up. Yeah, here it is. So I'm gonna put this in the chat. So that's something like you might want to play with doing. Um, let's see here. Uh, this might be way too long to put in the chat. If this format doesn't make sense, then I can give it to you. I don't know if you can like copy and paste that somewhere else to read later. That's really long. I'm sorry. But this is like step-by-step directions on how to do that local model if you wanted to play with that. And then with that, like I really do think that you wouldn't even have to screenshot things because it's on your local computer. So copy and paste that into like a Word document and check it out later. So yeah, so that's another thing. There is a Microsoft software called Presidio or something. Yeah, and it's free, and that is something that you can use to redact. So, and this is like very like trusted and like legit. So there are like redaction tools. Like my dream for you guys would be that you'd have some sort of tool that you could dump like 300 documents into and have it spit out all redacted, and then you can do whatever you want with them. Like when you have like a big tax practice, so that it's like clients give you information, it goes into this like scrubber that scrubs it to get it safe, and then you can use AI to like put a prior year tax return in, have it give you a checklist from there of the documents that you need from your client, give your client like that checklist, and then as they give you the documents, you could organize them using AI, and then have work papers created and have it do math and check your work and then review the tax return and then give you insights and summaries for the client, like all of those things, that just kind of like having a bigger team of staff, like kind of assisting you basically is what I imagine it being like. So that's what my hope is for you. And there's softwares that already have been doing a lot of this stuff for a long time, but they're all expensive. So my hope is that you can kind of build your own little tools by just talking it through with Claude or ChatGPT or whatever and say, I really want you to organize my work papers in this certain way when I give you source documents or whatever, and kind of teach it to do things the way you like it. And like, I want you to organize all my client files in this way and name them in this order, things like that to kind of keep your practice organized. And you can, have it save kind of all your information and the way you like things done. So it kind of follows your playbook each time you put like new client information in. So yeah, that I've seen firms that are already starting to like get rid of subscriptions that they have to different software because they're able to kind of build the same thing like really quickly for free, like with using AI. They have to pay for the AI subscription. Depending on like token usage, it might not be totally free. But for a lot of these things, you can use like Claude can walk you through using Python on your computer, which I don't even know what Python is, but I know that I can click the buttons that Claude tells me to click. And then it creates like a software that actually just lives on your computer, not on the internet. So you're not like paying for token use over and over again. It's just like a local script or whatever that's running, so that like you never have to pay for it again after you've built it. So there's a lot, and that could like be really great for organizing client documents and things like that, or creating a checklist, or a questionnaire or organizer for your clients. So yeah, I think like you guys are probably going to be able to take on a lot more tax work because each tax return is going to take you less time, because you'll be able to just organize the data in a much more efficient way. And when you're stuck on a tax issue, you'll be able to like get the answer a lot quicker. So it's really exciting. And I think a lot is going to happen just in the next months and if year, maybe a year. There's a lot of accounting software that's like really digging into this right now and trying to be, the first to launch each kind of new tool for accountants. So it'll be interesting to see over the next year or so, like, what the IRS says, if anything, and what these tools do and say, and what the cost is and all of that. I think some firms are finding that, you know, with the amount of like token usage that they're going to end up having, like humans aren't like that much more expensive. So you do have to kind of weigh out the cost, and humans are more unpredictable, like when you're building a team, but they, the cost might not go up as unpredictably as these tokens could. So a lot to consider, but there's so much that's going to be coming out very soon. I bet that will totally change this conversation. It's happening so quickly. Um, okay, I need to take a break from talking because my voice is not great today. Is it true that the IRS is using AI? I don't know. Um, Honestly, I would be shocked if they were because they're so behind on like everything. Like they still use fax machines and like, all of that. And they don't have any funding either. So it's, there are tools that they have like where, you can, um, where you can, like, I do believe the IRS has tools where like their machines will pick up on certain red flags on a tax return and like send a letter automatically. Like I think there are certain things, and I don't know that that's AI, but like they definitely can find patterns or find things that like numbers that don't fit within a reasonable range, like, really quickly. Um, so those tools have been out for a long time. Like I think it'll crunch numbers on like if charitable contributions are X percentage of AGI, then we're flagging this one because that seems too high or something. So I think that's like the extent of AI that's being used by the IRS. Um, I don't know what you've heard, like what they are doing. I do think that it's going to come to a point where they're able to catch mistakes a lot quicker and audit things a lot quicker, and there might be a lot more people who need an accountant to help them amend a tax return because they're getting in more letters from the IRS. But I think we're a really long time away from that just because they have no funding, so nobody's gonna implement those things for them. I don't think. I don't know. It's yeah. You would think that they would jump on that, but yeah, I guess they need the money to be able to build that. Um, so that's not like where the priority is right now in our government with where money should go. So yeah. Um, what other
It's
does
kind
any
of
of this?
hilarious because you got to collect the money to have the money, but
It's ironic, I
kind
know.
of humorous.
Yeah, it's funny that this particular branch of the government has just like continued to lose funding. Um, but like we're seeing an all-time like low right now of like, I saw something like yesterday of like I woke up at 7 a.m. to be the first person to call into the IRS, like on the tax preparer, you know, phone line, and like there was already like a 3 hour wait, and like there's just like no staff.
Well,
So
also people keep taught like on, it's like tax Twitter, like more obviously more like experienced people keep talking about how many bogus
yes,
notices and things, which is, I mean, it's like to someone like me who's starting out, in the industry, like that thought is terrifying. Of like your clients, getting like bogus notices about, and then having to like, yeah, wake up at 7 a.m. and be like, there's like a 9 hour wait, and then it hangs up on you.
Yeah.
What a fun mechanism to think about dealing with, right? As like a professional, obviously it's like we do our jobs to make money, but we also, when you're changing industries or you're doing something, your goal is to improve your own quality of life too. So
Right.
it's very like, I mean, it is disheartening to see things like that because there's the actual job and then there's, it's like I'm a hairstylist. If my clients had to call and get hung up on 5 times and like then wait on the phone for another 3 hours and then get like a letter in the mail that's like, your roots look like shit, they would probably just be like, I'm over this whole situation. So yeah, it's scary.
Yeah, yeah, and it's hard as a tax preparer because you are like the middle person between,
Yeah,
the client and the government, and then, you're supposed to enforce, what the government says, but then you don't have like their support. So, um,
totally.
that is like even when things were better with the IRS, that was still hard. Like that, it's gotten worse, but that's just always been a very difficult position for us to be in. Yeah, it's really tricky because a lot of this ends up being a lot more work for you and a lot more time for you to deal with these bogus notices and all of that, but you can't like push that cost onto your client. I mean, you can and you
I was
should,
gonna
but
say, I'm
like,
like, you can't.
well, you can, but like, it's
Kind of
not
like
there.
you
It's
have to.
frustrating for them because it's not their fault that they got this notice either, like,
True.
so
But it's
it's
not
like,
your fault either.
it's not your
So how
fault
do
either.
you feel about that?
Yeah.
Because sometimes like that's the way the cookie crumbles, and not feeling like, I mean, if that's the norm to not, I mean, of course it doesn't mean you charge them an extra $2,000 or like something crazy, but it's like, if solving an issue that you have for a client takes you 8 hours versus like 1 hour, how are you supposed to make a margin without passing that cost on to them?
Well, yeah, it's tricky because, some of these like notices make it almost appear like maybe you made the error even though you didn't. And so then the
Totally.
client is like, look, like this letter says you did something, like not me, like I'm not, so it's definitely like every time you see an email from a client that has like a tax notice attached to it, like your heart stops, like, oh God, like what am I about to have to deal with? And different like tax preparers handle it different ways. Some have um like a different package that they have clients, sign up for that gives them like IRS notice support for a little extra. Others just, charge, what as needed as it happens. So I don't know. Like I hope that things get better and that, you guys won't have to face that. But this year was really bad with that. Yeah, it's frustrating. Um, other questions that you guys have? I see Alexander, you're typing. Yeah, I mean, I would hope that AI would help. There are like services that you can purchase that will like get you like a faster spot in line with calling the IRS or help you with like handling notices. There are some like software that you can purchase for that as a tax preparer. It's kind of frustrating that like that cost has to be on you, like, but yeah, it's like, someone was talking about it the other day, and everyone's like, "Oh yeah, I pay for that," and I was thinking the same thing. Like that is so crazy that we're in a situation where we have to like pay for VIP tickets. Like, but yeah, it's it's definitely a frustrating part of our job, for sure. Probably the most frustrating part. Um, yeah. So
Can I ask you a question? what is your, I love, because I looked over it's like the client rubric sort of thing that you built, which I think is really cool. And
Oh,
I think,
cool.
yeah, no, I mean, that's like such a cool use. I mean, just of data in general, whether it's AI or not. And like, that's the sort of thing that I do with my clientele as well as a hairstylist, right? It's like, I sort of have my like people who really show up for me. They're not a huge pain in my ass. They're always on time. They're always like, and like, that's the person I'll bend over backwards with versus the person who like texts after hours all the time, needs my attention, like sees me once a year. Like I totally do that sort of thing. So I thought that was super, super cool. And I guess, I mean, I know I'm kind of, as I'm sure you realize, like a little bit like AI critical and like I just am a pragmatist in general. So I'm always picking things apart. But like what's another use for you, you know, as like an experienced person where you've used AI that you feel like it was like kind of an aha moment or that it really made a huge difference for you with like something we wouldn't necessarily think of at our level?
I mean, I look at
Sorry
it.
to make you talk more.
Oh, no, it's okay. I don't know. Just having kids, you get every germ. It's so annoying. I feel like I'm always sick, and I'm like, how's my immune system not like just used to this by now? But it's okay. Um, I'm happy to talk about this. So like the way I think of this AI stuff is like it's like a muscle that like you need to like strengthen. Like it's something that like you don't think about using and you're like, what use cases would I have for this? That's how I felt for a really long time of like, yeah, it's cool. I used it to help me write an email once, but like what are what are the use cases for me? I can't think of any like uh and then like I feel like people all get this like aha like click moment where it clicks and you're like, "Oh, this is amazing." So I got that feeling I think in like May. So it really hasn't been that long for me, but now I'm like hooked. So like I think like a good way to like to enter to get to that the other side is by thinking about like your to-do list every day, just like everything you have to do. AI can't do like a physical task for you, like it can't like foil someone's hair, right? But like it can.
Thank goodness for that, because at least I have
Right.
one job that's AI proof.
Yes, just one. Yeah, for now, we'll see. Yeah, but like it can do a lot of other things. So like if you just have like a to-do list right now of stuff that like needs to happen in your life, you can start by just having a conversation with Claude and being like, this is what's going on in my life right now. These are the things that need to happen. Do you have any ideas of how you could help me achieve these things faster or make it easier or give me ideas like when you look at this list what comes up for you, Claude? Like that's like keep it really open ended and then just keep pushing like any other ideas, anything else like and you'll see like just like anything that seems a little cumbersome that you have to do, it'll just it'll just do it for you. Like I needed to make a long list of like every date that I'm going to need a babysitter this summer. And I just had it go right into my calendar and pull it all. And I didn't like the format it put it in. So I said, can you make it look like this? And it did. And like, it just takes care of like any little tedious thing that you normally have to sit and like figure out. Like most recently, I was at the tax retreat conference in San Antonio, and we were able to offer CE credits for EAs and CPE for CPAs for attending all the sessions there. And people like hand wrote like their PTIN and signed in and out of each session that they went to. And I took like 100 paper pieces of paper, scanned them, and then gave them to Claude. And Claude took like all the handwritten names and email addresses and sign in, sign out, and PTINs and made a spreadsheet of like every attendee and what course they went to, and how many credits they earned and if they were there for the whole time. And then I was able to go on the IRS website and import, for all the EAs, import the information so that their credits for their CEs got, issued to the IRS. And then I had it use Canva to make certificates for everyone. And then it told me how to use a mail merge thing, which was like a Chrome extension or like a Google Sheet extension. And it sent like an email to 74 attendees with a attachment PDF of their certificates that were just theirs to every single person. And I mean, like, stuff like that, like where anything that feels like it's going to be a big project, you should just ask Claude or ChatGPT or whatever, like, how can you help me with this? And if you don't know like the right way to, like, people talk a lot about like the quality of your prompt like matters, you can just say like, can you help me write a prompt? Like, and it will even write the prompt for you. I also use it for like mental health stuff. Like, I don't even know that I will honestly need a therapist anymore because I talk through like my goals and my career decisions and my habits and like, my parenting style, like everything. And, Claude has access to the entire internet, like to everything. So it can pull all the right resources to help like talk you through. You can ask it to interview you, like interview me and ask me questions to help me figure out my purpose in life, or like anything that you're wanting to figure out. You can have it like probe that issue with you and help you figure out like what you're trying to do in life. You can tell it like, these are the 5 ingredients I have in my fridge, like what can I make for dinner tonight? Like, you can literally anything. But yeah, it takes a while to remember like, oh, I should just ask AI this before I do it. Like, one thing that helped me was like, I'm not going to Google anything for a while. I'm just going to, anything that I would have normally Googled, I'll ask like ChatGPT or Claude. And then that kind of got me seeing what it can do. And I think once you start, seeing, and yeah, it's true. Now, if you Google something, a bunch of AI answers come up at the top anyways. So, it's all kind of like the same now. It's things are really changing. But one thing that's kind of cool with Claude and probably ChatGPT too is like, whenever you ask it something, it'll answer it. And then usually at the bottom, it'll say like, do you want me to also do this, this, and this? So it kind of like comes up with ideas of like what else you might need. And they're typically things that you wouldn't have even thought of, but you're like, why, yes, I would love that. Like, thank you so much. Like, so it kind of helps you on the journey on its own, like by prompting you with more things like maybe you'd like. I mean, definitely something for you guys would be like branding. Like, it can make you an amazing website, amazing logo, amazing brand guide, fonts, colors, like logos, name ideas, like everything, like for free instead of paying a designer like a ton of money for that. And that there's Claude Design, which is like a tool within Claude. But you can also just use regular Claude for that. ChatGPT is pretty good at logos actually too. So that can be really fun, like as you're building your businesses, to have like the look of everything. It can make like your email signature. It can make your website. It can help you host the website for free on like a website. It can help you do like all of that kind of stuff really well. It can give you marketing ideas of like, how do I get new clients? Like what, scrape the internet and find me like an industry that I should target for tax returns, or, kind of think of it like as almost as if you had like an assistant on your team already, like an employee that you could just like make go do things for you. That's kind of how I talk to it, is like, I want you to go do this. Now I want you to put this together for me. Now I want you to compare that to this, and like just kind of delegate things that like you would never normally have time to do. It's great for like planning vacations or deciding where you want to live and like, where the optimal place to stop on a road trip is, like literally anything. Like it can figure out anything for you, which feels really like daunting at the beginning of like it can do anything, so what should I have it do? And you might even find that like you kind of enjoy like building things with it. Like I don't know if growing up you were ever kind of like into like, you know, like computer programming or coding or that kind of stuff. Like I wasn't, but I kind of always like thought it was kind of cool. Like I sort of was interested in that stuff, but it was just something I never exposed myself to. If you go onto Claude Code and you just say like, hey Claude, I know absolutely nothing about coding, but I'm kind of curious. I'd like to like build something. Can you give me some ideas of something I can build with you? It could be accounting related. It could be, you know, personal, like something fun. But like how it fits into using it on your actual computer. Like, do you mean like once you build the tool, like then how would you use it, or how do you build it?
Yeah, like once it's like it's like the coding part, like and I mean I haven't coded since I
Yeah,
was really into it when I was like high school, like early
yeah, yeah,
college age, and just ended up I mean, you know, as we're like talking like the Java and C++
yeah, yeah, yeah,
era and like HTML and
yeah,
stuff, but like yeah, it's like when I hear even people who are not, you know, coders talk about like making programs
yeah.
that they then use, it's like, does it become an icon on your desktop?
Yeah,
Like,
like where is it?
yeah,
Yeah.
where is it? And obviously
Well,
playing with the tools can show me some of that, but I'm always
yeah.
like, ooh, what does that look like?
So like part of strengthening like that AI muscle is like whenever you have a question like that, you can just ask.
Just
Like you
ask
can,
it.
yeah, you can
Yeah.
just say like,
You're, you know, you're really selling it, I gotta say. Like,
so like I mean, let me share my screen and see what kind of stuff I can show you. So like, let's see, entire screen. So if I go to Claude right now and I go to code. So like these are all the things that I've had it do, and like I don't know what any of this means. I don't know what like all this is, but I have all these different websites that it helped me make, and I know I have to pick like the one that I want it to work on, and then I could just say like change this on it, or I want this to look different or whatever, and it will create like an updated HTML like document like file. And then because I have it connected to this thing called GitHub that it told me to get and I didn't even know anything about before, it can like push the changes so that it's like live online instantly. So like some of these things can look a lot like just like a website. And then some of them are like tools that like can be live on HTML, or they could be like, I'm trying to think. So like all the tools on my website here are all just like, this is just like an HTML like file that is being hosted on a domain, like on a website. And like, again, like, I don't know what any of that means. It just like, it'll just tell you what you need to do. But like, if I told it the thing that I wanted it to solve, I want you to help me. Like, you know, I work with a lot of people who, they're like kind of self-esteem gets in the way of being a good business owner. That's kind of a trend in the accounting industry. So like these tools help people with holding boundaries. So like, you know, I think you were talking about the client analyzer tool right here, where you can like put in your clients and score them.
yeah,
And
that's exactly what I was
yeah,
looking at. But your whole website is just really, really good. Like
but
it's
thank you. But
full
like,
of
I
useful,
really can't take.
amazing things. It's one of the better websites of any discipline, honestly, that I've seen.
Well, I appreciate that, but all it was me having a conversation with Claude about like what I like and what styles I like, and it just like made it instantly. And I know the same amount as you know. Like I don't know anything. Like it just it's that like this looks impressive, but I'm telling you I can't take like any credit for it. In fact, a lot of it like wasn't even my idea. I just like describe frustrations or problems, or I ramble on and I say like, can you think of any solutions? And it's like, yeah, we could make this tool. And it like, we go through iterations of it, and I'll give it feedback like, well, it would be cool if there was a way you could add this feature or whatever. But a lot of people start by making like a dashboard of their life, like all the things that they want to track, to-do lists, like kind of things like that. And you can make that on an HTML where like there's like a website called like Netlify or Cloudflare. There's like a few different ones where or Vercel, like where it can host your HTML page. And then like it could just be like a tab up here. Like I have this one that I had it make me recently. It's a tool that I asked it to make, so it's interactive, but it's just HTML like code that it wrote for me. And I said like, I'm going to dump the transcript from every Zoom call I've had with my coaching clients, and like every brain dump I've ever had, everything I've talked about with accounting firm owners. And I want you to help me like make a calendar for content for like my newsletter and for social media. And I want you to use like my words and my like transcripts and stuff to help me come up with the ideas for this. So it's like put things on a calendar and given me all these ideas. And I can like drop a transcript in and it will, come up. I mean, it's like insane, all this stuff. But I mean, it did this and just by me going here and like talking, like saying, I want you to make this thing for me. And it just like goes on the journey with you. And then you can keep asking it to tweak things and change things. Now there's also so this is the Claude desktop version, and there's like the artifacts. So for like, there's also like tools that can live like here's one. I asked it to make a ledger, like a general ledger, like QuickBooks that I could just like do bookkeeping in. And like it just made it. Like I just described in words what I wanted, and it just literally just built this, and it like showed up in this artifacts section. So if I wanted to take this outside of Claude, I could and like host it on like an HTML type thing. Even like I'm doing a PowerPoint like for a presentation next week or this week. And so this is just like an HTML document. It's not hosted anywhere. It's just HTML, but like I just like bookmarked it so that when I give the presentation, I can use this. And it added like features at the bottom where I can like, if I do F, it'll put it in full screen, and my arrows will make it move just like a regular PowerPoint. But so yeah, HTML I feel like is like the first place that it starts with stuff. But then like you could have artifacts here. Then you can also have it make like a software that is offline, that just like lives on your desktop of your computer. And that it will use something, it'll have you download like Python, and it'll walk you through all that. But you can also, like one of my colleagues just made like a scrubber tool where she can put a tax return into it and it will redact everything. And that lives on her local computer. It's just on her desktop. She can double click and open it up and drag and drop like a document into it. It's not HTML. It's not like on a website. It's not hosted anywhere. It's just, she just went to Cloud Code and said, I want to build a tool that does this, and I want it to just be on my desktop. Like, and it told her everything she needed to do that.
Have you ever had it seriously screw up your life or a process in some way? I feel like I worry about that. It's like giving it a lot of access, or like creating something where like you don't have the knowledge, but you're just relying on it. Like, because you do hear some horror stories about people who use it and it does something that like sets you back worse than you were when you started. Have you experienced anything like that?
I have found that it's like incredibly cautious and like especially Claude Code, like it's always like let's run all these tests before we make it live and let's check this and like let me do this check and I'm kind of like no, just do it. Like hurry up. Like I don't care. Like I find like the opposite. There is like on Chrome, there's this Chrome extension right here for Claude and you can ask it to take control of your screen and like go do things. Like I could be like, go into like my email and like archive a bunch of email, like do, like clean up my inbox, and like you'll see the mouse like moving on the screen. And this is, I think, in beta still, the Claude Chrome extension, and like you could put like a bunch of tabs like in here like on like in this orange area up here, and that means like Claude has access to those tabs currently and it's going to be working in those tabs. But before, like every single thing it does, it asks you like first like to approve. Like you have to constantly be pressing the approve button like for every plan that it has and everything it's going to do. So like some people have said that like it like crazy things happen where it took over their screen and did like crazy things, but like I just haven't seen it do that. And like if anything, I just feel like it's like constantly asking like over and over again, like confirming, can I do this, can I do that? Like I don't know, that's yeah, I haven't experienced it being just like wild like that. But like I think if I were a little nervous about that, like the place I would probably start is more just with like you could use this design tool. Like maybe I'd start with just like design type, like kind of fun creative projects. Like if you go to this like design tool here, like you can just like design anything. And it like walks you through what that means. And like there's like a bar on the side where you can keep tweaking like what you're designing like as you go. So like that's something that's like you can have things like not be live until like you feel good about where they're at. There's also like a lot of skills built in. If you go here, like there's you can like have like different scripts and voices, like your voice and like all these different like plugins and crazy like things you can connect like all these different things to it so that like it can go places without you having to go there, so that you can just like stay in Claude and have Claude go do things like so yeah, like I can just say like, can you see what's on my calendar today? And it can just go do that. Like, and everything I'm doing here is also like on the app on my phone. So then like if I leave and go somewhere, like I can still like pick up where I left off and like access the conversations and things like that. So I don't know. It can do a lot of stuff. um, let's see. Um, I'm just looking at your comments. Yeah, like the website stuff, I have noticed like the fonts that it gave me and stuff, like as I'm seeing other like friends build websites and stuff too, I'm like, oh, it like gives us all the same fonts, like we all look the same. So I think like Claude just has like preferences, but I could push back on that and be like, don't do this, like make it look more like that or whatever, and it would do that. But like in the past I've spent like like tens of thousands of dollars on logo design, branding, templates for different things, websites, and it's taken like 6 months to get the product from the designer. So to be able to just like whip something up instantly for free and host it online like immediately and like just tell it whenever I want it to make a change to it has been great. Um, it can make a lot of handy little like tools that you can just like I have like for like continuing education, you have to have like pop-up questions pop up during the session in order, and everyone has to like click them to prove that they attended for the whole time. I made like a little tool that will do that. Like during a Zoom call. And it's just like, you know, I don't know how to do that, but I just told it what I wanted and it just walks you right through it. So it's cool. Yes, Cloud Fable was banned. Yeah, this kind of blew my mind because, you know, I was like, well, so I did use it and I felt like, I mean, here's the thing, like all these other models that like Claude already has or that ChatGPT has are very, very powerful. Like all of it will blow your mind and will do amazing things. So it was just like, it was even better than the ones that are already amazing, but like you didn't really miss your chance because what exists now is also like mind blowing. Like Opus that came out a few weeks ago, everyone was like going crazy over that, and like that was the most profound thing. And now like Fable's better. So like apparently Fable like had like jailbreaks that were found or whatever that could like allow someone to hack into, you know, I don't know, like the banking systems or like the government systems. I don't know. I'm not like super, I'm an accountant. I don't know a lot about this, but like, uh, yeah, apparently it was like dangerous, you know, and so I think that their Anthropic is figuring out how to get it back to us by, you know, putting more guardrails up, and then it should be released back to the world soon. So I do think it's coming back. But this is definitely bringing up some kind of bigger issues of like, you know, government's involvement and, you know, what does this all mean? And could somebody, if something got in the wrong person's hands, like what would they use this stuff for? You know, I've just been building like websites and fun tools without thinking about like people hacking into like all of our bank accounts or, you know, like, that wasn't like my goal. So I wasn't really thinking about how this could all be used for evil, but, yeah, it's very interesting, for sure. Yeah, it's wild. But I encourage you all, like in the next few weeks, to just start like at least once a day, just thinking about like, oh, I wonder if I could ask Claude to help me with that, or just help you think through something, and just, you know, see if it kind of creates like a, you know, a desire to kind of keep going back to it. Uh, and like, yeah, ask Claude, like, I have no idea how to use you. What should I do with you? And just see, like, make it figure out how it can be useful to you. Did I tell you guys? I know we have to go, but did I tell you about Whisperflow? Um, Whisperflow, let me give you the link for it and then we can go. Is it allows you to just like press a button on your keyboard and talk, and it just picks up everything you're saying. And it works like way better than any other tool I've ever seen like this. Like it really like puts all the right punctuation and paragraphs and bullet points. It's like incredible. And I find that that helps me with talking to Claude more because I can just like talk literally instead of typing out how I'm feeling about something or what I want. So I think that also helped like supercharge my ability to have things happen with Claude because, you know, I just could talk to it like it was like a person I was having a meeting with. So I really recommend that. And it's free unless you use it like way too much. So you probably will be able to stay in the free zone with that, but it's really helpful. But yeah, as always, feel free to reach out to me between sessions if you have questions. And I hope you got something out of today. And I'll see you guys in a few weeks.
Thank you, Rebecca.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, great talking with you guys. I'll see you soon.
All right.
Okay, bye-bye.